$5 super thanks from CJ DeYoung III says, wow, Chat Sports at Radio Row. You guys are big time now. Have some fun and enjoy. Thank you. Thank you, CJ. We've actually been at Radio Row a couple years in a row now. A, for the Super Bowl, which I don't get to go because the Cowboys don't make it, and for the NFL Combine as well. But I appreciate that, CJ. A $5 super thanks enters you into our monthly Chat Sports Gear raffle. We'll do 2-for-1s for the rest of the week as well. So $5 gets you 2 entries. From Nick, I don't understand the logic and hype on trading All-Pro George Pickens and Aubrey for a second-round pick. I can't imagine that with the risk of ending up with someone like Schoonmaker, Kelvin Joseph, Tristan Hill, etc. Pay the players. You help make the offense number one, point blank. Revamp the defense through free agency and draft the picks you have. And that's where I mostly agree. Again, it is not either or. You can keep Pickens or build a defense. That is not how this works. You should and can and will do both, or at least try to do both. Trading Pickens for a 2 doesn't interest me because that's like, okay, guess what? Now I have to go spend that second-round pick on a receiver. Because, like, I save some money. That's valid, but I'm then kind of stuck in a not spot I want to be. Aubrey is a bit different because it's second pick for a kicker, and he's Oscar's best kicker in the NFL, but it's a kicker. I don't think anyone's going to offer that, and no one's going to offer 2 1s for Pickens on the tag either. William Cook, it may have taken 30 years, zone mortality, and the success of 2 teams suspended free agency, but I hope they sign quality free agents. I agree. I need to see it before I fully am convinced it's going to happen, but definitely it feels different than the all-in comments from a couple years ago. From Cajun Kennedy, I'd rather trade down and take Romello Height in the second than Bailey with our first. They'll have a bit more raw power, but Height's twitch and bend off the edge stand out more. If I'm drafting an undersized pass rusher, I'd prefer the one with better burst and flexibility around the corner rather than somebody who only offers marginally better power. I do think Bailey's like bend and twitch around the edge is impactful. I think there's also a decent size gap in the power. Height, he added some good mass for the combine, which matters. He was playing like in the 220s, which makes him a really weird fit. I will say, I think you are more likely to be able to get Height in the second than Bailey at 12. I don't think Bailey's going to make the 12 for you unless there's something we don't know about off the field. So, you can still have your way in the end. Alex, not to be a Debbie Downer, but what is the worst case scenario for them to pick 12 and 20, and what would be your remedy for a bad situation? The worst case is simple. The defenders are all gone. The edges all go off the board. Styles goes off the board. Dillon goes off the board, and/or McCoy, and/or you don't trust the medical, and the 6 or 7 defenders you had ranked highly are gone, and all the offensive linemen, all the receivers are there. I don't think all the linemen are there for you. Maybe all the receivers are gone, or are there for you, excuse me. In that scenario, boy, you hope someone's calling to trade up. That's the solution. If it's not, figure out who your defensive version of Tyler Booker is this year, whoever that may be. What you're acknowledging is the wiped out scenario, that Dante Moore didn't go pro and you missed all your defenders by at least 1 pick. So what is your concern level over that happening? 1 to 10 in the comment section of today's show. Ecuador Man, $2. I've seen Thieneman at 12. Please know. That might be one of your wiped out scenarios. If all the defenders are gone, it's like Mesidor, which is really rich, but then it's Thieneman, a Colton Hood, CJ Allen. If you want to go defense and you're wiped out, Cassius Howell, that gets a little bit dicey real quick. Hunter M does, and he meant, by the way, Caleb Downs here, by the way, not testing up to get to 12. His brother. I'm very curious to see what it means. I want to think that it ends up he falls because it's Kyle Hamilton all over again. I feel like that's me getting high on hopium, to be quite honest, though. Top free agents is just like, it's honestly pick your edge rusher, pick your linebacker, pick your defensive back, and let's ride. That's all you got to do. Jesse, to what the company provided, all in for the defense side or to the trade scenarios, or both. Look, it's probably both, if anything. But I think it's easier just to stick and pick. If you get a good trade package, whether it's Minkah or whatever, yes, I have interest, but it requires 2 to tango, and sometimes they don't always want to tango, and or sometimes a different team who thinks they're closer offers a little bit more. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. Shoot your shot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. PrizePicks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. PrizePicks makes every dunk, dime, and board that much more exciting. Don't miss this chance to get started America's #1 app for sports picks. Some season-long baseball prize picks now available. Brian Bale, less than 4.1 ERA. Garrett Crochet, more than 225.5 strikeouts. Roman Anthony, more than 12.5 dingers. And Nick Kurtz, more than 3 multi-homer games. PrizePicks now offers early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. With the new social feeds feature, you can share your picks with your friends and copy some winners with a single click. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Jacob Marshall says, draft a corner at 12, draft C.J. Allen at 20, get the Quinn Williams brother and Nakobe Dean, and also get a Minkah. Maybe the Cowboys going all in. I will say, I don't think you need Williams and Dean and Allen. 2 of those, I think, would more than suffice. I do have some questions about Jermod McCoy, but Dillon and Allen at 12 and 20 is on board with me. I would appreciate that outcome. Still got to go get an edge or 2, but it does help you. William Cook, I wonder if some of the offensive line will be taken higher to the combine. Also bought a Cowboys Report shirt. Thank you, William. Fondo came in with short arms. I will say a lot of buzz like Sunday, Monday on Monroe Freeling as high as 6th to the Browns. So that's something. Which, hey, gets a tackle off the board. That is a win for the Cowboys. Ecuador man, who's your trade, but he sucks? AK, remember we did this on the live show build-up. Like, it fit, kind of. I guess it was Deonte Banks, which isn't fun. I don't think they're going to – I think Evan Neal's option got declined, so that one's not in play. But, like, signing Evan Neal would also be a very, very similar move. Well, he'd be way, way cheaper. Tony, does McCoy not working out scare you? I assume this is Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee, and hell yeah, it does. I had said going in, there was no player I wanted to see more than Jermod McCoy. Because we have seen Ezekiel Elliott in a Cowboys uniform more recently than we have seen Jermod McCoy on a football field. Let that sink in for a second. That is how it feels like 10 years ago. So I am worried about Jermod McCoy not working out and saying he needed more time. It worries me, man. We'll see what it does. What it looks like at the pro day. It didn't come in that big as I kind of thought he was going to. Either it's a slight concern. I get worried about that, man, because this team cannot take a redshirt year player. They just don't have the luxury to do so. So would you draft Jermod McCoy? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Ryder with a super chat kind of similar to the previous one. Best and worst case scenario. Best is a lot of ones are available for you. A lot of good defenders. Worst case is they're all gone. There's a run between picks 2 and 11 and a run between picks 13 and 19. And you're kind of like, well, now what do we do? That's your worst case. More we know, most for this option at 12. It's a great question. I don't know. Maybe if they are moving on from the medicals or from the arm length requirements they've almost had, Mansour Delane for me. If they don't, shit, I don't know. Because I don't think Styles gets to you. I don't think the edges get to you. I'm not so sure Downs gets to you. Oh, boy, now who do we pick? Gets a little bit dicey then. Fernando Mingrosbra, so I guess that's Fernando's evil brother. Give me some draft tidbits at the combine. I mentioned the Monroe Freeling one that kind of stands out to me. I feel like there's a real chance Sonny Styles and Jeremiah Love go top 5. I think they're at least going to go. I don't think Styles gets you. I think that one is pretty much dead. I am of the belief that if you did not test, you are slow. Or slower than like 4.55. Like you weren't going to hit the numbers that teams wanted from you. I know Oscar Delp had a hairline fracture in his foot, going to miss some time. This is non-Cowboys related, but Kyler Murray is gone. He is not coming back to Arizona. What that looks like, we'll see. But I was actually front row for the Mike LaFleur press conference, filming it for our Cardinals channel, and the difference in answers of like Kyler Murray of like, we've communicated, I'm not going to talk about him, essentially, to, my God, what a great human Marvin Harrison Jr. is. Like, just completely different. Like, okay, he's gone. Like, that's pretty clear to me. So name a player who you want to draft. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Name a player you want the Cowboys to draft. Ecuador with a great either-or scenario. Avion Terrell, quarterback from Clemson, and clear safety McNeil Warren, or Jermod McCoy, and C.J. Allen, as I merged multiple different McCoys there. If you had asked me a week ago, I would have said, Jermod McCoy and C.J. Allen, because I'll see what Jermod McCoy was like. I thought he was going to test. He did not. So, check it again in a month and a half, and I might change my mind again. But for now, because I don't know what it looks like for McCoy, I guess I have to go Terrell and McNeil Warren. But maybe I want to swap in C.J. Allen too. Brendan, I've heard Osa's not a good fit for Parker's defense. Trade him for a draft pick. It's up on the back end of the defense. It's a fair question. I think he can fit. You don't save hardly any money with a trade. It's like less than $5 million. So that's kind of a negative for you, because now you have to go get another defensive lineman. Like, if you're going to do a bunch of five-man fronts, even if it's just 30% of the time, like I think they're going to be in that ballpark, that's who's going to take those snaps? Like, Winfrey? Like, Winfrey and Toya and all these guys kind of contributing and Solomon Thomas contributing as, like, your fourth and fifth defensive lineman, sweet. When they're a starter for you, it's a little dicey. I would rather restructure Osa, and if you don't think he's a good fit, you can always explore a trade again next year. That could also very much be in the cards. Oh, if you want your Cowboys questions answered, hit that sub button and join us for our live shows here all off-season long. YouTube J, any day 3 sleepers we could look at? I mean, they brought in Gary Smith. I would almost wonder if you go do what you've done the past 2 years and spend a 7th on a big fat nose guard again. They did it with Jay Toya. They did it with Justin Rogers. Rogers is basically out of the league. They took Tommy Akinbasote in the 7th round too. They brought in Gary Smith out of UCLA for, I don't know if it was formal or informal. There's some doubt on that one, but someone in that ballpark could make some sense. William, would it be easier to sign a linebacker and edge and draft a corner and a safety? I think just easiness, I'm going to go with yes. There's plenty of edges. There's a lot of linebackers. I think one of the corners, if you trust McCoy and everything, are there for you. I think at least one of the safeties is there for 12, if not one also there for you at 20. And if you wanted to take the reach safety pick at 12, you can get a corner at 22. I think that would be easier. Better is up for debate, but it definitely is. It's a path you can picture. DeLunatic, what does a Kenny Clark restructure look like? Now, I'm going to answer this as like an extension, actually. A restructure would just save you about 9.6, I think is the figure, so decent chunk of change, but it just takes that money and puts it on the books next year as dead money. So it doesn't actually kind of solve your issues beyond this upcoming season. An extension, what you could do is take all the money he's owed this year, next year, guarantee it, make part of a new signing bonus, make it some guaranteed money next year, etc., and then add a year or two back on to the end of it. He gets a little bit more guaranteed money, actually guarantees his money the next 2 seasons, and it reduces your cap hits as well. So I would push for an extension. It's a little bit complicated because I don't have a great feel for what his market looks like. Is he going to be asking for $20 million per year? That's what he's owed the next 2 years, essentially. But are you going to give him 3 years, 60, and guarantee more of it? That kind of doesn't benefit you enough in the end. You could just restructure him at that point. So I am very curious what it looks like, because I think it's a much more complicated one than like the Aubrey deal is, for example.